नमामि शंकराचार्य गुरुपाद सरोरुहं यस्य प्रसादान् मूढोऽपि सर्वज्ञोऽहं सदा भवं कामाक्षी करुणारूपं कामकोटि जगद्गुरुं चिन्मूर्तिं कलये चित्ते शंकराचार्यमव्ययं भक्ताग्रगिरिसम्भूता शंकरार्णवगामिनी पुनातु भुवनं पुण्या श्रीगुरोः श्रितापगा वेद वेदांत साम्राज्य धर्म कामार्थ मोक्षदं विद्यारण्यं नुमः पुण्यं यो विद्यारण्यमध्यनत् सदाशिव श्री ब्रह्मेन्द्र धृत स्वपद पादुकान् धीरान् परशुवेन्द्रार्यान् ध्यायामि सततं हृदि देवे देहे च देहे देशे च भक्त्यारोग्य सुखप्रदं ऊध पामर सेव्यन्तं श्री जयेन्द्रं नमाम्यहं नमामि शंकरान्वाख्य विजयेन्द्र सरस्वतीं श्री गुरुं शिष्टमार्गानुनेतारं सन्मतिप्रदं सत्यनारायण क्षेत्रात् सत्यव्रतमुपागतम् आश्रये कामकोटीशं सत्यश्री चंद्रशेखरं सदाशिव समारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरु परंपरा. Shri Bhagavatpāda's 2500th Aradhana was conducted last year, and after that, when our Shri Kanchi Kamakoti Moolamna Sarvagya Peethadhivati Jagadguru Shri Shankara Vijayam Saraswati Shankaracharya Swami performed at Rameshwara Kshetra Abhisheka to Ramanatha Swami by his own hands. Starting from that auspicious occasion, with the prarthana of doing anusandhana of all the original Shankara Vijaya texts, we have started this prayatna, and we are examining the Anandagiriya Shankara Vijaya composed by one Anandagiri, a direct disciple of Shri Bhagavatpāda. And in this text, he has described the detailed discussions of Bhagavatpāda with the followers of various matas. And after that, he described how Bhagavatpāda had darshan of Vyasacharya, and Vyasacharya blessed Bhagavatpāda at a juncture when Bhagavatpāda was about to complete his Deha Yatra. Vyasacharya instructed him, no, you should stay and do prachara of the bhashya which you have composed. And Vyasacharya invoked Brahma to grant Bhagavatpāda further lifetime. And of course, Bhagavatpāda is himself Parameshwara Avatara, so, but he presented it as the anugraha of Vyasacharya and Brahma. So, and after that, Bhagavatpāda had a discussion with Kumarila Bhatta, and Kumarila Bhatta was an avatar of Subramanya Swami, as it is said in Shri Sadashiva Brahmendra's Jagadguru Ratnamala, Pranidishya Guham Puraivagantum Pranibandhuncha Makhan Vishascha Yantum. So the time situation was such that the Bauddhas and Jainas, not all of them were very peaceful sadhu, sattvika people. So some of them were obviously making efforts to do very strong prachara against the Vedika Karmanushtanas. So at that time, people, due to that prachara, people lost a lot of faith in Karmanushtanas. And because of that, it was first necessary to re-establish the importance of Karmanushtana. As Bhagavatpāda, even in the earlier Prakranas, we have seen that even though Bhagavatpāda speaks about Advaita as the Siddhanta, what needs to be followed today is everyone should perform their Karmanushtana as per their Varnashrama Dharma and do Upasana of Bhagavan without considering Taratamya, without having Veda Buddhi or hatred towards one particular form of the single Parameshwara. So that is what Bhagavatpāda has been stressing all along. So Karmanushtana is important, and only through Karmanushtana we can attain the Chitta Shuddhi to attain Advaita Jnana. But it is evident that whoever in those days, a lot of people, and this will also be relevant shortly later on in this Prakarana, a lot of people were taking up sannyasa, saying that Karmanushtana, because of which, because being influenced by the Buddhas, not due to Vairagya, but just to leave alone the Karmanushtanas, to escape the necessity of doing Karmanushtanas. But that is wrong. That is not the goal of, that is not the proper background in which sannyasa should be taken. So that will also come later on. But the main point is that at this point of time, it was necessary to stress upon the necessity of doing karmanushtanas very much. So Parameshwara, who took avatar as Bhagavatpada, he sent Subramanya Swami, his son Kumara, to take avatar, and Kumara became Kumarila Bhatta, and he was, as we saw in the previous Prakarana, he did extremely strong prachara of karmanusthana, but at the end, he chose to take up a Ghora Prayashchitta because he felt that in doing the Nirakarana of the Jainas and Bauddhas, he had committed a sin because he learned the Vidya, the Jaina Bauddha Vidya, from the Jaina Bauddhas themselves. So for that, he felt it was necessary to take up a Ghora Prayashchitta, and thereby he, through that procedure called Tushagni Pravesha, he left his physical body at Prayagaraja Kshetra. At the end, Bhagavatpāda went and saw him at Prayagaraja Kshetra, and Bhagavatpāda invited him to come back and take up Advaita Vidya. But Kumarila Bhatta said, no, I feel that my work is done here. So you please go to Mandara Mishra, who is my student, and he is also my sister's husband. Mad Bhagini Bharta Mandara Mishra Sarvagyaiva Sagala Vidyasu Pitamahaiva Bhartate. So he is very much well versed in all fields of knowledge, and he is like Brahma. So Pitamahaiva, so Brahma is actually, Mandara Mishra is considered to be an avatar of Brahma. So Kumarila Bhatta, having redirected Bhagavatpāda to Mandara Mishra, he completed his Deha Yatra, and from there Bhagavatpāda went from Prayagaraja Kshetra. He proceeded towards Mandara Mishra's place. So Dhakka, Shankha, Tala. So now in this 36th portion session, we are about to examine the 56th Prakarana of this Shankara Vijaya. Dhakka, Shankha, Tala, Dhvanibhihi, Jayashabdehi, Bandi Magadha, Sotakrita Stabaihi, Padmapadadi, Shishyakrita Karatalaihi, Dikkari Karna Kotarabadham, Sampadayanta, Shri Paramaguru Mukhaha, Kubera Ding Margam Avalambya, Hastinapurad, Agneya Bhagasthalam, Vidyalayamiti Prasiddham, Puram Prapuhu. So, the Parivaras, we have seen how Bhagavatpāda was traveling with a large Parivara, and the Parivara Janas, they were variously sounding the dhakkas, they were sounding conches, shankhas, and the talas, and there were people who are doing the Jaya Ghosha, Jaya Jaya, and the people who were uttering praises, stutis of Bhagavatpāda, and the great Shishyas of Bhagavatpāda, Padmapada, and others were doing Karatala, and with such Vaibhava Bhagavatpāda was traveling. And it is said that it's very nicely described that Dikkari Karna Kotarabadham Sampadayantaha. So the sound which was emanating from this yatra was going and striking on the ears of all the Diggajas, the elephants which are considered to be there in the 8 directions. So from Prayagaraja Kshetra, it is not clear why he went to Hastinapura, but the place, it is itself, it seems to be like a university town, as it is called nowadays. Vidyalayamiti Prasiddham Hastinapurad Agneya Bhagasthalam. So it is not necessary he went to Hastinapura, but the place called Vidyalaya was towards the southeastern direction of Hastinapura. So he went there, and the city, the town is described here. Tat Purantarale Chaduryodhana Vistare Pratyak Dishi Kroshamatra Vistara Chaturashre. So that town was of the dimensions of 4 yojanas, and in that town, in the western part of that town, Kroshamatra Vistara Chaturashre. So in a square area which was of the size of 1 krosha, which was a lesser length unit of those days than yojana. Bhumi bhage tala taru matrochharitam shalam nirmaya. So the house of Mandara Mishra is as high as a tala tree. So as high as a palm tree. So Shalam Nirmaya Tan Mukhe Shatahasta Pramanam Parasparabhimukham Vedika Dvitayam. So there was a stage, there were 2 stages there, each of a length of 100 hand lengths. Shatahasta Pramanam Parasparabhimukham, 2 stages facing one another, each other. Vedikadvitayam. So on top of that, this was a place where students could debate with one another, or scholars could debate. And Otaprota Tadupari, and above that, those two stages, Otaprota Daru Panjarabadha Shukapanjarani Anekani Kalpayitva. So there were wooden pieces which were given in a Otaprota fashion, that is one this way horizontally and one this way horizontally. So as you have the threads in a cloth. So Otaprota Daru Panjara. So it was as if a cage. The wooden pieces were given in such a fashion, and there lots of cages for parrots were hung from those wooden arrangement. Anekani kalpayitva tatra panchashatamita shishyana ekaika shastra parinana mandaramishraha chadurmukhebhyo brahmeva sahasravadhanebhyaha ahirajaiva panchasyebhyo rudraiva shad darsana patha parakramitaana. So it described how Mandara Mishra created, that is, he trained his students, 500 students, it is said. Each student was developed as an expert in each Shastra. And an interesting usage of the Panchami Vibhakti here, Panchadurmukhebhyo Brahmaiva, or the Chaturthi Vibhakti, we can say. Mandara Mishra was like Brahma, but due to his training, all these Chaturmukhebhya. So all these students were themselves developing as if they were equivalent to Brahma. And Sahasra Vadanebhya Ahirajaiva. Ahiraja means Adishesha of 1,000 heads. And each of those scholars were developing like that. Panchasyebhyo Rudraiva, Parameshwara, who is the Jnana Swarupi, and each scholar was developing with an equivalent Yogyata. And Shad Darsana Patha Parakramita. So they had extreme expertise in the Shad Darshanas. See, normally Shad Darshanas are described in the Astika Darshanas. It is said that Nyaya Darshana, Vaisheshika Darshana, that is a pair, and Sankhya Darshana, Yoga Darshana, that is a pair, and Puramimamsa and Uttaramimamsa, that is a pair. So, and there are other variations of this which include Jaina Darshana, Bauddha Darshana, and so on. So, but anyway, so he taught all these. Later on, we will see that all sorts of vidyas were being studied in his Vidyashala. Ananda Samudre Plavamana. And so the prayojana of Vidya should be Ananda Prapti. So all these students were such that they were floating in a sea of Ananda because of their Vidyabhyasa. Akhila Asha Jaya Samarthana Achakara. So even all those students became so capable that they were also able to do Digvijaya. Tat Chalantare Sevakaihi Dasa Dasi Janaihi Kupa Tadagadi Nirmaya Tadvari Paribadha Sakala Sasyaramadibihi Prapta Annashakadivireva Pratyaham Akhila Shishya Saha Shadrasopeta Annabhakshana Paritripta Tanurum Nivasan. So this is a beautiful practical description. We might have heard of this Avanti Homa, which is given in the Taittiriya Upanishad. So when a person wants to run a Vidyashala, it is very important for him to make arrangements for the food of the students. Annapane Sarvada. So this Mandara Mishra, what he has done in this town, because he has such a large land, so he has made various tadagas, various ponds there and wells there for water resource, and through the water which is received from these water bodies, he has arranged for the irrigation of areas where rice is planted, where shakas, vegetables are planted, and so whatever is necessary for the food of all these shishyas, that is available there, is self-sufficient in their own campus. Shadrasa upayata anna bhakshana paritriptatanoho. Through this anna which is received from this their own plantation, they are able to have the meals of shadrasas, all the various tastes. Arthat prapte paitragadine. So in such a beautifully administrated place, Mandara Mishra is, and prapte paitragadine. So it happened to be the day on which Bhagavatpāda visits him, happened to be the day on which he is performing the Shraddha to his ancestors. Prapte paitragadine brahmana nimittam pitrusthanaya. So this yogyata of Mandara Mishra is such that not only is he a great scholar or a great administrator, but he is also his tapas is such that Pitrasthanaya Vyasam Mantra Shakti Baladagatam Nimantrayamasa. Through this Mantra Shakti, he has requested Vyasacharya to come and take up the sthana of the Pitra sthana in the Shraddha. And so this prakarana has such some such alaukika descriptions. We are saying it as it is. This cannot be the procedure that we may be able to do in our shraddhas. Obviously, it is not possible for us to bring Vyasacharya. So, but anyway, that the tapas of this Mandara Mishra described and various descriptions which we will see in this prakarana will be like that. So, let us take it as it is. But we have to perform the shraddha as per the procedure that we are supposed to, as per our current tradition. Then, anyway, after Pitrasthana Varana, which was given, the Nimantrana which was given to Vyasacharya, Vishwadeva Sthanaya, Tat Samabrahmana Bhava. So he was not able to find who is an equivalent Brahmana to Veda Vyasacharya. So, because Vyasacharya is also Narayana Avatara, so he meditates upon Bhagavan Lakshmi Narayana, Tat Sama Lakshmi Narayana Rupam, Shalagramam Nimantriya. So he has chosen to do avahana. Of course, in the tradition also sometimes we say this leaf is even this is for Bhagavan. But here in the Vishwadeva Sthana, he has chosen to place Shalagram. Krita Sakala Pakaya Nijajuvatya Pitra Samarchanam Guru Pako Jataha. So the Dharmapatni of Mandara Mishra, she is, as Mandara Mishra is the avatar of Brahma, she is the avatar of Saraswati. And she is her capability, how she has discharged her duty as a Dharmapatni, and she has prepared all the paka which is necessary for the Shraddha. Yojayed Annapakyancha Parinahya Sitekshane, as it is said in the Manusmriti. So she has prepared all the pakas, that is the food, the cooking that is necessary for the Shraddha. So she comes to her Bharta and she says, you may please proceed with the Shraddha Prayoga because the cooking is completed. Pitra Samarchanam Guru Pako Jataha Iti Grihita Vachanaha Shuchihi Prasanna Hridayaha. So now with the prerana of his Dharmapatni, Shuchi, he is with all due achara, Prasanna Hridayaha. So this is an important niyama of Shraddha. So it is said, Prasidantu Bhavantaha Prasanna Asmaha. Not only the persons who are eating in the Shraddha, but the person who is performing the Shraddha also should keep his mind as Prasanna. And Mandara Mishraha, Pavitra Bhushita Karaha. So he is wearing the Pavitra in his hand, Sankalpya. Kshanam Devartham Shalagrame Dattva. So those we would who have performed or seen the Shraddha Prayoga, you know, Kshana is a technical word here. It means the requesting that particular person to take up this as a serious responsibility to do the Bhojana in the Pitrasthana or Vishwadeva Sthana and so on. So that is called Kshana here, that request, that appointment or the selection, we can call it. That Kshana, Devartham Shalagrame Datta. So for Vishwadeva Sthana, he is giving the Kshana to the Shalagrama, and then Pitrartham Vyasakare Dattva. In the hands of Vyasacharya, he has given the Kshana for the Pitrasthana. And also, we know in the Shraddha, there will be two mandalas. One will be in a square form and another will be in a circular form. And the Pada Praksharana of these Nimantrita Brahmanas will be done there. Grihangane Chaturashra Bhartula Mandaladayam Kritva Tat Pujam Vidhivat Kritva. So as per the proper procedure that upacharas are completed. Swayam Pratyang Mukho Bhutva. Now he is lowering his head, and Devasthane Kshanam Shalagramam Darbhopari Sanniveshya. So he has placed that Shalagrama on the Darbha and Vishwadeva Dhyanam Acharan. So in his mind he was meditating upon the Vishwadevas to be Abahita on the Shalagrama at this time. So this is the set of events that has happened on one side, and the set of events on another side will be described shortly, and which is on the side of Bhagavatpāda. What is happening on the side of Bhagavatpāda? Tadanim Khila. So we go back a short while in time, because Bhagavatpāda is entering the Nagara. So we can see later on he is going to join the scene at a particular point of time when Mandara Mishra is doing dhyana. Tadaningira Paramaguruho Sarvashishyan Tatpura Purva Bhago Upamaneshu Samniveshayitva. So Acharya told his Shishas to the great Parivara which was following him to stay in the Vatikas of in the eastern part of that town. And alone he has come to Mandara Mishra's house. Sanniveshya Swayam Puram Pravivesha. He enters that place, and Bhanu Kha madhya swastikārūdhe, when the sun has reached the topmost position, Puraha pratyak bhage, in the western part of the town, Marge kila, Dasi katambakam iksha. So he is coming towards the house of Mandara Mishra, and he sees a group of women who are working there, worker women of who belong to that place, and he asks them, Mandara Mishralaya kutrasti. So where is the house of Mandara Mishra? Bhagavatpāda asks them, Itya prichat. Prushtastha paramagurum pratyuchuhu. So this is a very, the reply of the women, the working class women to Bhagavatpāda is a very, very surprising one. They reply in the form of verses. See, if there is a university and there is some VIP who is coming to that university, and somebody, at least some assistant professor, or depending on the importance of the person who has come, they will be taking them around the place and showing what are all the departments there and so on. But here, the working women of this university town, we can call it, they themselves tell Bhagavatpāda what are all the subjects which are being taught here. So they specifically refer to the parrot cages which are placed in the front part of the house of Mandara Mishra. And those parrots, because of the incessant and long standing discussions between the scholars there, or the abhyasa of the practicing chanting of the students there, because of that, all these parrots, specifically mentioned here female parrots, but the parrots, they have memorized lots of these words or these phrases which these scholars or the students use among themselves, and they are pronouncing such words, they are uttering such phrases that in such a manner that Mandara Mishra has conducted is administering that place. Such a Vidyasthana that place is, that even the parrots are uttering such words. This is the description given by the working women to Bhagavatpāda for identifying the house of Mandara Mishra. So the first shloka is based on the Tarka Shastra. Pratyaksha Shabdantamiti Prabhedaihi Shukangana Yatra Giram Vadanti Dware Tunidandara Sanniruddhaha Vehitan Mandara Mishra Dhama. So that is Mandara Mishra's house, where the parrots which are within the cages of in the front portion of that house, those parrots will be speaking about the pramanas: Pratyaksha Pramana, Anumana Pramana, Upamana Pramana, Shabda Pramana. So these are the four pramanas of Tarka Shastra. In Mimamsa, there are Arthapatti and Anupaladhi, two more pramanas are there. There are different traditions, but this is based on the Tarka Shastra, four pramanas. So Pratyaksha Shabdanta Niti Prabhedaihi. So what are all the differences between the pramanas and so on? Such discussions these parrots are repeating. So such place in which the cages in which the parrots are speaking such words, that is Mandara Mishra's house. The next is Vedanta Shastra. The verse is from Jivayeshwaraikyena Bhida Prabhedaihi Shukangana Yatra Giram Vadanti Dware Tunidandara Sanniruddhaha Avehitan Mandara Mishra Dhama. So the parrots, the place in which the parrots are speaking about the connection between Jiva and Ishvara, whether both are the same or different. So that place, that is obviously a discussion from Vedanta Shastra, and that place in which the parrots are repeating such discussions, that is Mandara Mishra's place. Shabdanta sad pratyaya sadhatu vadaihi shukangana yatra giram vadanti dware tunidantara sanniruddhaha abhayahitan Mandara Mishra Dhama. So again, the place in which the parrots in the cages are speaking about Vyakarana Shastra. So we say Akaranta Pullingaha Rama Shabdaha Shabdanta Sad Pratyaya. The various pratyayas, the Prakriti Pratyaya, and which the suffixes which are to be attached where, and the meanings of the suffixes, dhatus, from which dhatu, from which root, which word is coming. All these are Vyakarana discussions. The parrots are repeating, the parrots in the front of Mandara Mishra's house are repeating these things. Then next is Karma Shastra, Karmanusthana, Kalpa Shastra, we can say. Snanadi viprochita karma krityam shukangana yatra giram vadanti dware tunidantara sanniruddhaha avehitan Mandara Mishra Dhama. So what is the Nitya Anhika? One that a Brahmana should do, Prata Snana should be done, then this, and so on. So these words, so the parrots have learned from the students there. They are repeating. So that is Mandara Mishra's house. Then Mantra Shastra, again, Mantradivajantu Tanu Prabhedehi Shukangana Yatra Girambaranti Dvare Tunidantara Sanniruddhaha Vehitan Mandara Mishradhama. So the place in which the parrots are repeating words from Mantra Shastra, what are all the aksharas that should be there in this mantra, and what are the differences between this mantra and that mantra, and so on. So these discussions, the place where those parrots repeat, that is Mandara Mishra's house. And there are so many more verses, so I'll be just quoting the part that is differing in each verse. Pradhana Bhadai Kila Sankhya Bhedaihi Shukangana Yatra Giram Vadanti. So the parrots are speaking about the Sankhya Shastra, in which there is Prakriti Purusha. That Prakriti is also called Pradhana. It is formed of the three gunas, Sattva, Tamo gunas, and that is what is creating the whole world as per Sankhya Shastra. And the Jivas, they are called Purushas in that Shastra. And what is the connection between Prakriti Purusha and so on? These Sankhya discussions are going on there among the parrots also. Charvaka Taitalika Bauddha Bhedaihi. So Charvaka Mata, Taitalika Mata, this Mata was not mentioned earlier, but it might be a variation of the Bauddha Mata. We have seen such variations earlier. So those matas are also being discussed. Those are also being studied. Their various departments are there in that university. So that is Mandara Mishra's place. Jainokti bhi Kala Vidukti Bhedaihi. The matas, the discussions from Jaina Mata, and there was one person who was having a globe in his hand and saying that Kala is everything. So such matas are also discussed here. Such subjects are also studied here. Kapalikeir Bhairava Yakshavadehi. So the Kapalika Mata, Bhairava Mata, Yaksha Mata, all these were seen earlier. Then Bhaktadbhi Shaiva Mata Prabhedehi. So in the very earliest Prakarana, we saw that the followers of Shiva Bhakti is Pradhana, and that will give us moksha. Such discussions, such matas are being studied here. Sukanganaha. So the parrots are repeating that. Then Ganesha Vishnu Arka Parir Matarthehi. So Ganesha Mata, Vishnu Mata, Arka Mata. And we can also add Devi Mata and so many other matas which are discussed earlier. All these matas are being discussed in Mandara Mishra's place. Kavyadibhir Nataka Siddhavadaihi. So the Kavya Shastra, how the Kavya should be, how Nataka should be, what are all the Lakshanas, such are discussed. Akarshana Uchchatana Siddha Mantrihi. So we had that Siddha Mata also, where some people were saying that all these Siddhis are what is important. Such Siddhis are also being studied here. Ityadi Bahudasi Vajana Sandarbhaja Sanjata Shlokan Shrutva Ashtarya Sammishramanaha Jagadguru Paramaguruhu. So listening to these verses coming from the mouths of the worker women who are there, Bhagavatpāda was very much surprised that such a Vidya Vaibhava is present in this place. Yuvati Sangham Aditya, he took his leave and he crossed those women and he came to the house of this Mandara Mishra, Thala Pramana Sala Pariveshtitam, that house which is as tall as a palm tree. Mandara Mishra Graham Prapya, then he found the gate was closed because Shraddha was going on inside. Kavata Guptam Dushpraveksham iti Visarya. So how to enter this, because it is the door is closed, it is locked. Pranayam Balat Gagana Margena Antah Pravisha. So Bhagavatpāda was of the Tirmana of the decision that definitely this discussion should happen today. It should not be postponed. So through the Antariksha Marga, he came in through the sky. Mandara Mishra Krita Puja Prasanna Vishwadeva Mandale Khadada Vatisthate. So he happened. So now we have to correct that scene and this scene. So Mandara Mishra is right now, he is meditating. He is about to place that Akshata on that Shalagrama, which is placed on the Vishwadeva Mandala. So Bhagavatpāda came and through the Akasha Marga, he comes and lands in that exact place. Tadanim Mandara Mishra Vishwadevan Sankalpya Shalagrama. So he is closing his eyes and he is meditating upon Vishwadeva. He opens his eyes, he is facing the earth. He is about to say Shalagrama Swagatamiti Darbhakshata Prakshepanakali. He is about to put the Darbhas and Akshatas saying Shalagrama Swagatam. Shankaracharya Padadvayam Mandalastham Darsha. So he saw Bhagavatpāda's two lotus feet there in that Vishwadeva Mandala. Then who is this? Suddenly he was surprised and he sees the entire body. Sarvanga Tata Sarvanga Nirikshana Nakila Aham Sanyasi Jnatva Kopakolahara Chittaha. So immediately he saw this sannyasi has come. He his mind was overcome with anger. Why? This is why I mentioned earlier, because some people misquoting the Bauddha Darshana or due to the Bauddha Prabhava or misusing the Bauddha Prachara for their own laziness, saying that we have taken up sannyasa, we don't need to do karmanusthana. That is not the way that sannyasa should be taken up, to avoid karmanushtanas, but it is only to go beyond karmanusthana. So because of that, but anyway, because of such people who are misusing that sannyasa ashrama, the Kumarala Bhatta, Mandara Mishra, they were severely opposed to sannyasa in general, along with opposing the Buddhas, Jainas who are deriding our karmanushtanas. They are also opposing those people who are taking up such false sannyasa. So because of that, they are very much, and their mindset was such that antagonistic towards sannyasis. So in such a mindset, we have to understand from what mindset Mandara Mishra is getting angry at this particular juncture. So actually, we mentioned earlier that he is supposed to be, because he is the Shraddha Karta, he is supposed to keep his mind calm, but he became angry because looking at this sannyasi, because even Kumarala Bhatta got angry at the end, and then he accepted Bhagavatpāda. Like we see, why see anybody, if Shraddha is going on and the door is closed, locked, especially if somebody suddenly comes in, anybody will get angry. And on top of that, see, when a procedure, shastric procedure is going on as per rules, suddenly something changes, this is liable to happen. So immediately he utters a few words, very strong words, showing his anger. But Bhagavatpāda replies to it laughingly. So Kumarala Bhatta asks, why is this jadata? Jadata means this lack of understanding of what is to be correct to be done and not to be done. See, obviously, Laukika Nyaya, someday a house is closed, somebody has closed the door for a reason, you do not normally go inside. So why is this jadata? Bhagavatpāda laughingly replies, jadata is there in this physical body does not have knowledge. So, but I am Atma Swarupa, so I do not have jadata. Then he says, why this lack of bhagya? Mandara Mishra asks. Then Bhagavatpāda replies, if you do not, actually in the Shastras, there is a place, a sannyasi, nimantrana, such rare procedures. As I mentioned earlier, this may not be something that we can do today. But he says, when a sannyasi has come to your house, you are supposed to worship, give respect to the sannyasi. If you are going to show disrespect, then you are the person who does not have bhagya. Then Mandara Mishra asks, Kim Choravarti, why are you like a robber or a thief who is entering a house in an incorrect way? Why are you coming this way? But Bhagavatpāda replies, saying that Choravarti is something that belongs to the Arishad Varga, the Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. They are robbing us of all our Viveka and other such things. So you also don't get angry. That is the implied meaning. Then at this time, Vyasacharya pacifies Mandara Mishra, saying, Aprarthita nimantritaha abhyagataha Vishnuhu. So you did not invite him, but he has come by himself. At this juncture, it is not correct for you to get angry. So you padyam diyatam iti Mandara Mishra avadat. So Vyasacharya tells Mandara Mishra to give him padya upachara. Don't show your anger any further. Go ahead with the Shraddha procedure. And at this time, the Bhagavatpāda seems to have thought that it is important to immediately say, before accepting that upachara, what he has actually come for, to ensure that that work also gets done and Mandara Mishra does not refuse it later. Padyagrahana kale vadartham agatosmi iti Guru Jagada. I want to discuss with you. Then Mandara Mishra says, Mandara Mishra bodhanantaram tatha karomi ityavadat. Okay, let this Shraddha be completed first, then we can look into that. Yathavidhi Pitrakarma Nirvartya. So after this entire Shraddha procedure was completed, and after this, Vyasacharya is no longer in the scene. He seems to have completed the Shraddha, and he seems to have done the Antardhana. He is no longer visible here. Vadartham Panamevam Achakratuhu. So they made an agreement before starting the debate. So Grihasthohamapi Yadi Vade Parajitaha Sannyasi Bhaveyam. So because Mandara Mishra felt that yes, he knows the Dharma Shastra that sannyasi should be shown respect, but because of some sannyasis misusing that, he got angry. So he says that okay, because I should, by rights, I should show respect. Then, but I have shown disrespect. So let me take up this sankalpa, if I am defeated in this debate, even though I am a grihastha now, I will take up sannyasa. And the counter pratigna done by Bhagavatpāda, he is confident. We can think, is it correct for Bhagavatpāda to make this pratigna? But Bhagavatpāda is confident. He is of course, he is Parameshwara Avatara. The word confident is a Laukika adjective that we are using. That he is not going to be defeated. So, sannyasyahamaphi yadi vade palayitaha grihastho bhavami. So, I will become a grihastha if I am defeated. So, then they take up this debate, and who is going to be the madhyastha? Ubhaya pakshagrahana samartham Mandara Mishra Patnim Krutva. So, that Patni of Mandara Mishra, the Dharma Patni, she is not only capable of all that Paka and other Dharma Krityas, her responsibilities as a Dharma Patni, but she is also a scholar in her own right. So she is able to do the vichara of which is correct or not. And Mandara Mishra Patnim Krutva Sarasavani Namnim Prasangopakramam Achakratuhu. So they started that debate between them. Nigamadi Sarva Vidyasu Prasange Kriyamane Shatadinat Param Pratipakshasya Skhalityam Shrutva. So it is said that unique information here that debate went on for 100 days. So in all fields of knowledge. Prasanga Shatadinat Param. So Mandara Mishra's Patni Sarasavani was able to note that the Mandara Mishra's Paksha was losing. His arguments became feeble. Khalityam Shrutva. So then on one particular day, she, after while coming back from she was also able to monitor this as well as take care of the cooking there. Mahanasat Patisamipam Gatva. So every day at the appropriate time for lunch, for Madhyana Bhojana, she has to come and she will tell her husband that the cooking is completed. So, and it is the responsibility of the grihastha to invite the sannyasi, please come for bhiksha. Then they will, after the bhiksha of the sannyasi, the dampatis will take the ahara. But today, Patisamipam Gatva Sarva Sarasavani Sarvajna Akila Idam Abravit Yehi Bhikshayi. So today what she has said is that she is looking at her husband, but she realizes that he has to now take up sannyasa. So she tells him, please come for bhiksha directly to her husband, because there is who else is going to invite him for bhiksha. So she has the responsibility. So she calls him for bhiksha. And that means that he has lost. As her Dharmapatri, she feels that it is not correct for her to openly declare that her Bharta has lost. But through this, she has indicated that, and Tam Paramagurus Tushtava. So Bhagavatpāda praises her, saying that she has both discharged her duty as a judge as well as the correctness of how she should express the result. Tadanim Mandara Mishraha Paramaguru Charanarabindam. So that Charanaravinda, which by itself came to his Avahana, that Charanaravinda he took up as his Sharanam, and he took up Bhagavatpāda as his Guru. Tadapadeshena Sannyasi Bhutva Kubera Disham Avrajat. So it is this Prakarana ends by saying that Mandara Mishra went towards north. So, but there is actually something that is going to happen here, but it is possible that Mandara Mishra alone left. But there is something, the discussion of Bhagavatpāda with the Dharmapatni of Mandara Mishra, that will be in the next Prakarana, which by Guru Anugraha we will examine in a further session. Sarvavyapaka Chaitanya Rupena Adhyapi Tishtati Sayeva Shankaracharyo Gurur Mukti Pradas Satam Hara Hara Shankara Jai Jai Shankara.